Good afternoon, everyone. We're Group 8, and we're here to share the story of Promasido Ghana, a company with a strong foothold in Ghana's dairy industry. Our presentation examines Promasido's competitive strategy, where the company stands, where it's headed, and how it can unlock sustainable growth in a highly competitive and evolving market. Promasido Ghana is a subsidiary of Promasido Holdings, a multinational known for offering nutritious and affordable food products across Africa since 1979. Promasido Ghana entered the market in the early 1990s and quickly established itself through products like cowbell powdered milk, Onga seasoning, and Yumi Vita fortified cereals. Its value proposition is affordable nutrition and broad accessibility, struck a chord with Ghanaian consumers. Today, Promasido holds 15.7% of the overall dairy market in Ghana, and it positions itself as a key competitor to Nestle with 41.7% and Fan Milk with only 5.9%. Its estimated revenues between 70 million US dollars to 90 million. We chose to focus on Ghana's dairy industry because it presented a plethora of opportunities, a large and growing demand for dairy products, especially milk powder, but a very weak local production base. According to Dairy Global, less than 1% of the total dairy consumed is locally sourced. In 2021, the industry was valued around $350 million, signaling huge market potential. With increasing urbanization, rising middle class consumption, and expanding health consciousness, the demand for fortified and health centric dairy products is said to grow significantly, and this presented a lot of opportunities. Export growth was impressive. It grew by 62% year on year, supported by the AfCFTA agreement that was struck between West African countries that meant that there was a reduction of 27% tariff on all exports. And we also realized that consumer preferences are shifting towards health, convenience, and quality. On the flip side, the market is intensely competitive with high buyer and supplier power, but abundant substitutes and increasing operational costs due to inflation and currency volatility. We also used the Porter's five forces to categorize the threat of new entrants as moderate due to initiatives like one district, one factory, while rivalry and buyer power remained high.
Okay, so we conducted a Porter's 5 analysis, Porter's 5 forces analysis for the food and beverage industry in Ghana. And from this analysis, we realized that the threat of new entrants is moderate as there are lack of raw materials and technology for many companies to start up their businesses in Ghana. However, the policy such as the one district, one factory was able to fund new businesses to start up their businesses in Ghana, and the bargaining power of suppliers is moderate to high as many companies import raw materials from foreign producers, making them vulnerable to import taxes. And the bargaining power of buyers is high as there are so many different alternatives on the market that consumers can switch to if they feel like the Promasido is not providing them the right value for their products. And the threat of substitutes is high as there are so many local healthier options on the market, such as Hausa Cocoa and Wachi, and the competitive rivalry is high in this industry as companies such as Unilever, as both local and foreign companies such as Unilever are in this market space, which provide the same products. Okay, so for the opportunities, we realize that threat of new entrants is an opportunity for Promasidor, as this company is already established in the market and they can leverage their position in the market by marketing their products, making it more appealing to companies, making it more appealing to consumers as compared to the new entrants that enter this market. So for bargaining power of suppliers, realize that most companies import their raw materials. So Promasidor can locally produce their locally source their raw materials, making production and the cost of the products cheaper than their competitors. Okay, so for the trades, bargaining power of buyers set trades, as there are many alternatives on the market. Threat of substitutes is also a threat, as there are many local substitutes on the market, such as Hausa Cocoa, and competitive rivalry is high, as there are many industries in the market, such as Unilever, which provide consumers with the same products, so similar products. So the ESG factors are environmental, which for the environmental ESG factor, Promasidor can farm using more sustainable farming practices. And for the pestle factors that affect these forces are technological, political, and economic. Okay, so for technological, the lack of technology hinders companies from being able to produce their products. And for political, the one district, one factory policy enables startups to be able to enter the industry. And for economic, the over-reliance on foreign suppliers makes these companies vulnerable to taxes.
So, under the factors driving change in the industry, we realized that there was a technological innovation in food safety. So, Ghana's food sector is witnessing a surge in safety standards, and this is driven by both regulatory demands and consumer expectations. So, an example is the Promasidor's FSSC 22,000 certification. So, this certification builds trust among the consumers and also policymakers. The next one is changes in cost and efficiency. So economic volatility is a challenge recently in Ghana, and the cedi's 22.3% depreciation in 2023 has spiked import costs for critical inputs like milk powder, which is squeezing margins and is very important to Promasidor because of their cowbell product. So coupled with inflation and high interest rates, business must now prioritize low-cost financing to fund their innovations to survive. Another change was the changes in societal concerns and attitudes and lifestyle. So there has been a growing demand for nutritious and fortified meals in recent Ghanaian households, and 72% of middle and upper income households also seek nutritious and fortified meals. So this shift opens more doors for Promasidor to lead with products like the Yamvita meals, which is very nutritious for aging babies and which blends with affordability and enhanced nutrition. So the fourth change is globalization and infrastructure development. Efficient logistics is now a make or break factor in the Ghanaian food industry and retail sector. So Nestle, which is Promasidor's one of Promasidor's main competitors, has invested in truck fleets to underscore robust distributions, and which has caused expansion. So Promasidor, competing with Nestle, has to double down on partnerships and technology to streamline supply chains. And additionally, as mentioned earlier, the AFCFTA 70% tariffs reduces so this tariff has created more export opportunities, but only companies that are agile enough to leverage regional trade routes and infrastructure agree to this.
When we did the PESO analysis, we realized that politically Ghana is stable and it ranks 7th on the Ibrahim Index. Recent reforms like the repeal of the e-levy and emissions levies are reducing transaction and logistics costs. Economically, currency depreciation and high interest rates continue to raise input costs. Socially, 72% of urban consumers now express health consciousness. Technologically, 69% internet penetration and mobile money adoption are revolutionizing retail and marketing. Then um, legally, compliance is strict up, but barriers to entry are also higher. And we also looked at the impact of the environment. Data shows that um, 28%, there has been a 28% higher rainfall variability that disrupts agriculture production and supply chains. And also, in the northern region, the drought has reduced dairy production by 23%, which is increasing input costs. Um, so these peso components were structured in a way that presents either whether they're threats or opportunities, and we realized that economically, legally, and environmentally, these show a big threat to Promasido, but also internally, Promasido has clear strengths, locally relevant products, and strong distribution in underserved markets. But we realize also that its weaknesses include a limited digital presence and a lower or slower innovation compared to Nestle. Um, the fact that some of the components that bring about opportunities included the health-focused product lines and digital transformation. However, inflation is still a big problem, and this also makes it expensive for inflation rates, interest rates also make it expensive for Promasido Ghana to borrow money. It makes capital expensive. Um, yeah.
So for the focal company and the competitor, here's a breakdown of the competitive positioning. So for the strategy, we have Promasido Ghana following a cost leadership strategy which prioritizes affordability and penetration in low-income rural markets. On the other side, Nestle Ghana adopts a differentiation strategy focusing on quality nutrition and premium positioning. Looking at the resource and capabilities, Promasido has moderate R&D, lean operations, and strong grassroots distribution and deep local market expertise. Nestle, on the other hand, benefits from strong global R&D, advanced technology, and robust financial resources, and a diverse product portfolio. Moving on to the product focus. Promasido offers affordable dairy and beverage products such as cowbell and Mixi, whereas Nestle provides health-focused products like Milo, Cerelac, and Maggi, with an emphasis on innovation. Moving to the digital and innovation, Promasido has limited digital reach and product innovation as compared to Nestle, since they leverage advanced digital marketing and benefits from global innovation support. Now, finally, to the sustainability and CSR, Promasido engages in local sustainability initiatives but operates on a limited scale, whereas Nestle implements an integrated ESG strategy with strong sustainability program. Now, looking at the key success factors, Promasido thrives on affordability, local relevance, and efficient distribution, whereas Nestle excels in brand trust, health-focused products, innovation, and sustainability. To their next moves, Promasido plans to expand its product variety, improve packaging, and enhance its digital presence, whilst Nestle aims to introduce more health products, deepen digital engagement, and localize supply chain.
For a strategic group map, we had Promasido and other competitors, and we measured this by their price and their perceptions of how people view Promasido and the other competitors. We had Nestle Ghana, which had a high price and strong brand image. Then we went to Fun Milk, which had moderate pricing and moderate brand image. We then went to Fisland Campina, which is the brand for pig milk. It also had a high price and high strong brand image. Mona Milk was at the bottom with low price and low brand image, and Promasido Ghana was in the middle with moderate to high brand image and moderate high a moderate high price.
So for the sake of time, we'll quickly brush through the remaining slides. These are SWOT analysis. Moving on, we have our strategic recommendations for Promacedo. Now to the implementation, we have the culture, the leadership, the ESG consideration and organization structure. And now finally to our strategic work plan and the Gantt chart. Thank you very much.